Hey there, Pisces. Welcome to your reading for March 2025. We are going to jump right in here. You have this card, it says New Moon. It says a new start is coming. You also have this card that says you are good enough. With the eclipse at the end of the month, Pisces, I would definitely say that, kind of like believing in yourself more would be a good idea. The eclipse for you is kind of like interesting because I feel that this eclipse is like marking the first opportunity this year for you to kind of make some smaller, bigger moves. And so, like, I feel like you've been in this part of your life for a very long time where you've been, like, the moves you've been making, it's like you're making progress, but it's kind of like they're very small, like very small moves that you have been making. And I would also argue, I should say, that a lot of what you've been doing is like foundational work, which is kind of like boring and sometimes hard to do because it's like you're building something without getting like the real result, right? It's like you're having to do all that beginner stuff at the beginning of something that you're building. And so, that's when the doubt kind of creeps in. Now, what I would say is, like I said, even though the eclipse is on the 29th or whatever, usually we feel eclipses before they happen and, obviously definitely after they happen. So a lot of you could be feeling this energy pretty early on in the month. And you start with the Five of Wands, the Chariot, and the Six of Pentacles. The Five of Wands can be inner conflict, and you have that card. It says you are good enough. And so a lot of what you could be overcoming at this time, this month, it's like a pretty good reading so far. Again, I think maybe the challenge for you this month is kind of like overcoming your beliefs about yourself, kind of believing that you're good enough to do something, believing that, I think a major theme for the next like 20 years for Pisces is believing that what you have to say is valuable, just that simple. So I would do the work. The reason I bring this stuff up is because, again, if we don't do anything about it, nothing is going to happen. So we have to work on ourselves at this time, Pisces, and that's definitely what I would do. You have the Chariot. Like I said, definitely progress. Even though we have Venus going retrograde on the 1st, we have Mercury going retrograde later on in the month as well. It doesn't matter. I still feel that it could be a really good time for you to make progress and to see a lot of growth at this time. Again, really, as I said to you, I think in your last reading, your year doesn't start until like May. Like literally right at the beginning of May is when you'll probably notice things really progressing much faster at that time. But again, it's like all the work you're doing now is going to add up to that time, the beginning of May. So you might as well keep doing what you're doing here, but definitely a lot of success that could be coming in for you with the Chariot. I feel a lot of Pisces have been worrying more recently, maybe this year, about like the future, of like what you're doing with your life, and you could be having fears about like what you're doing right now and what it's going to add up into in the future. Like, am I going to be able to retire? Like those types of fears, or am I going to be able to do this, that, or the other thing? And, the funny thing is I don't necessarily think that these fears are a bad thing because I think they're bad if you're just, perseverating on those fears. But if you're just thinking about them and then making changes, then things could go really well. Definitely a year for Pisces to set themselves apart, and the Chariot is all about setting yourself apart. So I think that that's what you're doing there. Here are the bigger, smaller steps that you're taking. So, like I said, I feel that you've been taking very small steps towards, building something in your life. And but I feel like these are like slightly bigger moves that you're making. And I feel that you're going to start noticing the progress that you're making with that Six of Pentacles. So I feel really good about that Six of Pentacles because, again, when you're doing foundational work, it's hard to see the result that you're getting. But I feel like the results are becoming like more obvious or just better in some way. So again, I feel pretty good about that. With the Five of Wands, you have the Six of Wands, two victory cards here, Six of Wands and the Chariot. So there definitely could be a victory coming in for you. As I've been saying to you for like a year now, as well, it's really a time for Pisces to get recognition for their results. I've said it before, I'll say it again probably. I think over the next few years, there's a great opportunity for you to surprise people, where it's like people all of a sudden are going to be like, where the hell did Pisces come from? Like all of a sudden you're, successful, or all of a sudden you're doing something with your life that people don't expect. But again, you have to do the work, of course, and you also have to think, I think you have to believe that what you have to share is valuable. With the Chariot, you have the Knight of Pentacles. Just you have every single progress card in the tarot here, so I feel you're just making progress towards goals. With the Six of Pentacles, you have the Four Swords. Yeah, you've probably been tired recently, so the Four Swords is resting, relaxing, recovering, making sure you're taking care of yourself, making sure, really good year for health for Pisces, like making sure that you're staying healthy, making sure that you're kind of collecting energy and all that other good stuff. So that's probably where your blessings are going to come from. The Four Swords is a card of blessings. I mean, there's a person blessing another person right here. But again, usually we get those blessings by taking care of ourselves. Next, in the area of what's coming in for you in March, you have this Bear Tree card. It says, don't waste your energy or efforts on something that is clearly not bearing fruit. Yes. You have this Koi Fish spirit. It says, you're manifesting more love, prosperity, and wealth into your life. Yes, definitely. Definitely an amazing time for love. I think that, again, Venus retrograde gets a bad rap. People say things like, oh, don't date during Venus retrograde and all that other stuff, but it's actually not true. Like, Venus retrograde is fated love. You can meet the love of your life during Venus retrograde. You can also meet the biggest monster you've ever met in your life during Venus retrograde, but again, the potential is definitely there. But this says love, prosperity, and wealth, so a lot of you are clearly working on that. You do have the Devil, the Emperor, and the Queen of Cups. Like I said, I would definitely take care of yourself. You have the Temperance card right next to the Devil, and so it's like the angel and the devil, right? So I feel for a lot of you that removing toxic things from your life would be a really good idea with the Devil energy. I would also be careful of like negative thinking with the Devil energy, with that, you are good enough card with the Five of Wands. I would make sure that you are kind of conquering your inner voice here and not speaking negatively. You have the Emperor. Yeah, it's time for Pisces to boss up. I believe that Pisces is the boss moving forward in the future. So, a lot of you could be taking steps to take the lead on things in your life. You could be getting more attention or putting yourself out there more, and, like by taking control of things like your life or projects that you're working on. And I think all of that would be very good for you with the Emperor. You have the Queen of Cups. Queen of Cups is about following your heart and your intuition. Two things Pisces is actually really good at. So, I think that this could be your energy, even though I read her as Cancer or Scorpio. But, I think that this could be the energy that you're embracing this month, which is great. With the Devil, you have the Eight of Wands. Yeah, I would be careful of any devils, especially devils from your past as well. This does not have to be love. This could be anyone from your past that is toxic or has toxic vibes, and they could be trying to communicate with you. Again, Venus retrograde and also Mercury retrograde this month, definitely could bring back toxic people. I also kind of get the, I have like a weird situation in my head here, Pisces, that I'm just going to tell you what I'm hearing. And that is that, like, if you have a person come back, very specific, this might only be for one of you out there, but if you have like a person coming back who's almost like pretending that like whatever happened didn't happen, I would be very careful of that. I would also be careful of the types of people who do things, for their, it's like, I don't even know what I want to say here, but it's almost like, and this could be a business thing, by the way, because it's like I have money popping into my head, but it's almost like you have a person who's contacting you like all of a sudden, but it's like I think if you think about that person, it's like they only do things for themselves, and I would just be careful of that. It's like if someone all of a sudden is like, oh, can you help me with my business or whatever, but it's like you haven't heard from them in like 6 years or something. It's like clearly they just want something, and I would be careful of that, especially in business, but it could be anything else in your life. Eight of Wands is also a quick success, and we see a lot of quick success cards right off the bat. Six of Wands, Chariot, Eight of Wands, very good. With the Emperor, you have the Two of Swords. Two of Swords is like this or that thinking. I feel like there is no middle ground as well. Two of Swords is my card of mediation. Like sometimes I feel it's a card of like two sides trying to come together, trying to meet in the middle, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. And the Two of Swords isn't necessarily bad, but I kind of feel that there's a person that could be trying to come into your life that is like trying to find a middle ground, but the middle ground for this person is like they get 90% and you get 10%. So it's not actually a middle ground. And I feel that is another warning that's definitely popping into my head. And again, it does feel financial to me. So it could be like a person in business where it's like you would end up doing all the work and they would get like 90% of the credit or the money or whatever. And it's definitely popping into my head to, be careful of those situations. With the Queen of Cups, you have the Queen of Wands. Yeah, Queen of Wands is about marching to the beat of your own drum, being bold, being assertive. Like she needs to be bold and assertive and really go for what she wants. And you also have the King of Wands here. So it's almost like you are stepping more into that bold, assertive energy. These two can also be divine counterparts. So if you're looking for love, definitely could be a new connection that's coming in for you here with those two cards. But the Queen of Wands wants you to move towards your happiness. And I feel like that's what you need to do as well. You have the Fool. And the Fool is taking a leap of faith in a new direction. And he is like starting his journey joyfully. So there could be a new beginning for you, a lot of you. You have that card that says a new start is coming. So if you're working on a project, an idea, a business, as long as it's leading to happiness, then you will be good. You have this happiness card and this healing chaos card. You are probably healing the chaos in yourself with that healing chaos card. And I would definitely move towards things that make you happy with that happiness card as well. You have the Temperance card, the Fool, and the Death card. The Temperance card is like, he's trying to mix those two things together, those two cups. But see, the thing about the Temperance card is like, he just needs to get off on this path and get to this crown. It's like, I don't necessarily, again, think that this is a bad card, but sometimes I feel that he's trying to perfect a situation that would actually hold him back. If he were to perfect these two cups right here, like if he were to turn that water into wine, which is what he is kind of doing here, he's trying to practice alchemy, turning one thing into another. But it's almost like this reading is saying to me that you shouldn't spend too much time trying to perfect a situation that isn't perfect, and you should just get off on this path. This is called the path to glory, and there's that crown. It's almost like this reading is saying, like, go and get your crown, and even if you have to leave people in the past, or even if you have to, leave something behind, that's okay. It's like, it's your time to shine, really, Pisces, and it will be for many years to come, but, at the same time, if you're allowing these little things that you think you have to fix, or if you're trying to be a fixer, like too much in your life, that is going to be a problem. I really don't, it's kind of like a weird time, because I also feel like it's not time for Pisces to be a fixer. The only thing I would fix is yourself, right? Like there is one thing you should fix, you, not things that are external to you. And I feel this is saying like, hey, there's this path that exists where you could really go and shine. And that might mean that there are people who realize that they should have attached themselves to you. Like, I feel a lot of people, friends, family, people that have left you behind, it's like they could be realizing that they should have followed your lead. But it's like, that doesn't mean you should stay back at their level, right? I really get this feeling of leveling up in this reading as well. You have the Fool. The Fool says it's time to take a leap of faith. I mean, it's like people call Pisces a fool their whole entire lives. So it's like, why worry about that now? The Fool, he might be worried that people are calling him foolish for taking this leap of faith. But, the whole point of the Fool is that he has to be willing to look like a fool to be successful in the first place. And again, anybody who's been majorly successful in the world has been called a fool. So, it's like, who cares? March to the beat of your own drum. Like I said, Chariot, Queen of Wands, and this card. The Chariot is leaving the city behind him behind. He is going in his own direction. Queen of Wands, she needs to not care what people think. The Fool, same thing. He needs to take a leap of faith on a new beginning without caring what anyone says. You have the Death card. Definitely some big changes coming in for you here, and some, I think you're just kind of undergoing a transformation. I mean, the Temperance is a transformation. The Death card is a transformation, so you have the opportunity to transform. With the Temperance card, you have the Knight of Cups. Yeah, I feel a little, it's not really love reading, but I definitely feel a little bit of love here. So if you are looking for love, there definitely could be a new connection coming in. And the other thing is I would say that it's truly balanced. Like, I think that if you're attracting someone at this time that, especially if it's a new person, that it is 50-50. I think the whole relationship 50-50 thing is BS. I also think when little girls and boys on TikTok say, oh, no, it should be 100-100. Well, number one, that's impossible. No one can give 100% to a relationship and then also live a life. So that's also ridiculous. But it's like, for the most part, like, we shouldn't be little nerds with pocket protectors whipping out calculators being like, oh, they did this for me that last week, so I'll do this for them this week. It's like, that's another recipe for disaster, right? But for the most part, I feel that this is something that's much more balanced, much more equal. And the other thing I'm getting here is that it will be obvious. Like, you're not going to have to guess with this person. So if you're attracting love, I feel pretty good about this reading. And again, it is a good time, regardless of what anyone else will tell you about Venus retrograde. You can meet the love of your life during Venus retrograde. With the Fool, you have the Strength card. You've built the strength, but I feel you have to show it off. The thing about the Strength card is that the lion represents her inner voice or her inner critic or her inner demons. And she is the one that is in control. She is taking control of her inner voice, and it is submitting to her. So for a lot of you, I feel you've done a lot of work on yourself, but she is also displaying her strength. Like, people are seeing her put her strength on display here, and I feel that's also something that you could be doing. With the Death card, you have the Nine of Cups. Really good cards in this reading. Nine of Cups is total fulfillment. Really, this is what I would focus on, is fulfillment. Fulfilling yourself, doing things, nice things for yourself. The Nine of Cups, we have to bathe in the energy of what we want, and we have to just become the thing that we want to be, and then we will have it. And I always say one of the easiest things to do is to adopt the habits, kind of the activities, and do the things that successful people do. And that's exactly what I would do with that Nine of Cups. Next, in the area of the good stuff, you have this entitlement card. It says, why do you believe that you deserve benefits and privileges that you haven't earned or worked for? What I would say is, I feel like this should say, because it's coming up in the good stuff, that you need to believe that you deserve the benefits and the privileges. Because again, I think there's a lot of holding back energy here, and I feel it's time for Pisces to share. You have this career change card. It says, does your career fully align with who you are physically, emotionally, and spiritually? A lot of Pisces are going to be changing their work over the next few years. So it wouldn't really, this is just the beginning. Some of you might be thinking about, upgrading your work or changing your work in some way. And if you are, I feel it'll be very good for you. You have the Justice card, the King of Wands, and the Seven of Wands. Justice is justice. There definitely could be some justice coming in for you here this month. Like, I definitely feel it. For some of you, like sometimes I think, like, if you worked with a person in the past and now they're coming back and they're asking for your skills, even though you wouldn't work with them, it, might feel like a little bit of justice. Like, they finally see my value, right? And so some of you might be experiencing that. It could be love as well. It's like, you could have a person coming back with that Venus and Mercury retrograde, and you could have a person who's like finally seeing your worth. And I'm not saying you're going to do anything about it. Actually, I think you'll probably ignore it. But, again, it could make you feel a little vindicated here with the Justice card definitely popping into my head. You have the King of Wands. You could be attracting a very spicy connection here with the Queen and King of Wands if you are attracting love. So there could be a lot of desire. I also feel that you need to embrace the energy of the King of Wands. He's a visionary, an entrepreneur. He's bold, assertive, confident. He really goes for what he wants. So even if you have to fake your confidence, I think that sometimes, I don't think it's always true that irrational self-confidence is a good idea, but in this situation, it is, because you have the Six of Wands Chariot with that Five of Wands. It's like saying to me, you are good enough. It's like saying to me that you have skills that you should be using that you don't feel good enough to use, but clearly you are. So it's not really irrational self-confidence. I feel that it's the perfect level of confidence, that even if it feels irrational, right? You have the Seven of Wands. Yeah, Seven of Wands, like I said, I think you are putting up boundaries here. We have the Devil down to the Seven of Wands. So you could be putting up boundaries against toxic people or toxic situations. The Seven of Wands also is your beliefs. It is a card of conviction. And the Seven of Wands says when you know that something is for you, that's when you will have it. So again, a lot of you are developing your beliefs. Let's see. With the Justice card, you have the Three of Cups. Three of Cups is like a celebration or happiness. This could also be you feeling like the universe is balancing things out for you. Remember what I said about, at the beginning of the reading, it's like you've been doing that foundational work and maybe you haven't been getting results, because it's like sometimes foundational work in business or career, it's like we don't really see the result of it until later. And with the Justice card here and the Three of Cups, which these three ladies are celebrating a harvest, there definitely could be more of a harvest, more money, or more results based off of your work coming in for you, which is great. With the King of Wands, you have the Queen of Swords. Yeah, Queen of Swords sees things clearly for the first time, and there a lot of the readings for the past few months have been talking about clarity. And with Neptune also leaving Pisces at the end of the year, it does leave sooner, it goes into Aries, but it's going to retrograde back into Pisces. There could be a lot of clarity for Pisces as we move through the year. With the Seven of Wands, you have the High Priestess. Yes, the High Priestess basically is saying that you need to put yourself first. I think this whole entire reading is saying that Pisces needs to put themselves first and, kind of listen to themselves and do the things that you want to do, right? And that's what I would do. You have this indecision card. I feel like you are being guided towards decisions, but you need to make those decisions. This lady is like worried over here, but there's this angel over here that is guiding this lady towards this choice. So I feel you need to tap in more or listen to your higher self more. You have this innovation card. It is an amazing time to innovate with Pluto and Aquarius. So any innovative, unique, fresh ideas that you have in any area of your life, I would definitely try those things. Now, your brain is going to tell you that those things aren't going to work. Like if you come up with a new idea for your business or a new idea for your YouTube channel or whatever it is you do with your life, your brain is probably going to say that's not going to work, but really it is. So, embrace those new ideas. You have this riches card. Yes, definitely. Really good. I feel really good about money. You don't have a lot of money cards here, but I said it on that Justice card and that Three of Cups. It just feels to me like you're going from like foundational to maybe producing a result. And, that could bring in riches or success, which is amazing. You have this domination card. Pisces needs to dominate. It's like time for Pisces to have an ego in some ways. And that does not mean that you're marching around being a jerk, right? That's not what we're talking about. What we're talking about is it's your time to shine. And people are probably going to say you have an ego. People are going to have something to say about it whenever Pisces, stands up, right, and claims attention, but just ignore it, right? They're just little screeching birds, and the little shit birds, as I like to say, and you can just ignore it, right? So I think it's your time to be on top. That's what she said, Pisces. Your outcome card here is the restlessness card. So yes, I feel you're going to have these moments of restlessness from now and probably since, I don't know, January until May. So it's all about what you do about it. It's like that feeling that you can't explain where you're like sitting around. It's like you want to take action, you want to do something, but you can't get motivated to do it. The restlessness card says go for a walk, do a puzzle, like take that energy and put it into something. That's where you're going to get the answers. But really good reading, Pisces. I feel this is like, is March going to be perfect? No. But is it better? Yes. So looks amazing. Thank you for being here and definitely enjoy your month.